Alright my dear friends, the time has come. The trailer for Andor Season 2 has finally arrived, and we can wipe our tears. We can finally get excited for the final season of Tony Gilroy's amazing show. Now right off the bat, there is a lot to break down, but I want to start by talking about the vibe of this trailer. Very different to what I expected, and we're finally going to see a different angle of what it took to start the Rebel Alliance. All of the different factions, all of the different partisans leading up to Mon Mothma declaring the formation of the Rebel Alliance. Not everyone went with her, but we're going to see the actions and sacrifices of some very brave individuals. There's more grit, more grime, and even the way it's filmed looks a bit different, and the colour grading reminded me of something like Oppenheimer. Very cinematic. The locations are beautiful: Coruscant, Yavin 4 Base, the plethora of other planets we're about to see, and I'm very impressed. The only very, I would say, bizarre decision is having The Revolution Starts Now by Steve Earle as the music for this. It's a poignant and relevant song, but I don't know if it matches the vibe of a Star Wars show like this. It made it feel a bit too Marvel-y. Like the other day I saw the trailer for Thunderbolts, and it evoked the same kind of feeling. At least it's better than the Power of Two song, whatever that pop song was called at the end of the Acolyte credits. The way I would describe this trailer is if you took the spice that made the first season so great and they upped the flavour, because this feels nothing like the first season and I love it. I had a good think why it feels this way, and I realised it's because we're moving on from Ferrix. It's compromised. Part of the sacrifice theme, and Ferrix was such a big part of season 1, but they're going to use the memory of Marva, what she stood for, as a driving force to get revenge over the Empire and everything they've taken from them. But the reason the trailer looks so different is we've moved away from the drabness of Ferrix. This looks so different to what was shown at D23. Obviously the music in the background is not Nicholas Brittle, who is returning for the score for the second season, but this is definitely going to get the Star Wars fandom invigorated. I have to say, of all of the frames from this trailer that literally made me jump out my seat and punch the air, it's seeing Saw Gerrera back, looking much more like he does in Rogue One, and at this point in the timeline, he sustains the majority of his injuries. But fans want to see on screen how he got his respirator, and how he lost his legs. We know about it from Rebel Rising, the book which explains the nano-explosive incident, but are they going to show it? But the fight and tearing the Empire apart at any cost has taken a toll on his health. I wonder how much of that they're going to show. If there's going to be any retconning, the shows take precedence. Obviously he's an extremist and he differs a lot to Mon Mothma. He doesn't join the wider alliance, he stays partisan, but it does get you thinking about some of those very exciting conflicts between Saw, between Mon, maybe between Luthen, because what happens to him? Where is he by the time of Rogue? I think he's gonna die. I'm gonna talk about some of the other cameos, but even with the fonts they use for the writing, this trailer just feels a bit more elevated, a bit fancier. They went all out. It's absolutely insane, and I'm sorry to sound like a broken record. They've left it this late to promote this thing, but goodness gracious, wow, just wow. And did you catch the little reference to the Joker? Cassian's cheeky little detonation move. Walking away, pressing the button, and the massive explosion happens behind him. I loved that. So a lot of the early shots of this revolution were filmed, I think, in Valencia in Spain, and some fans are saying this is the Gorman massacre, the stormtroopers against the protesters. There isn't too much information about this, and I kind of love how every single character's got a revamp. If you look at Melshi, if you look at Bix, she's going to have a more active role, and just the other day, Adria Arjona said, you see Bix in some crazy dangerous situations you would never expect, and that really shows. She's taking an active role in the rebellion. This incredible cornfield planet, it could be Dantooine, but it might also be the Ganji moon, which Andor mentioned in the final episode of the first season, where he sent Bix. There's a part of me that thinks the rural planet can't be Dantooine because the Empire gets there, and they appear to arrest Brasso. And there's such a great sense of urgency. The scale of this is just blowing my mind. This feels like Star Wars, and just like I suspected, they're really leaning into the Rogue One aesthetic. Look at this. Krennic looking out at the Death Star as Project Stardust nears completion. Then you have a brand new unit of stormtroopers who seem to be working with Dedra Meero. Is her romance with Cyril Khan going to continue in this season? Whatever the case, we only see him once, and then we see his mother, Edie Khan. She's like the nagging voice in his ear telling him he needs to do better. Such a toxic relationship. Generally speaking, there appear to be more frills in season 2, and all of the action reminds me of the Battle of Jeddah and then the Battle of Scarif, the on-the-ground stuff, especially with Melshi, and the shots of the TIE Interceptor, such a treat, chef's kiss. You know what really surprised me is Mon Mothma with the other Chandrillans and her family dancing at her daughter's wedding, and I have to say that did match the music. And you know, going back to Saw Gerrera's passion, he wants to do anything to put a stick in the eye of the Empire, and here he's trying to shake some sense into people who just don't seem to get it. He shouts, "You're here, you're right here, and you're ready to fight." He's trying to spark that fire in the bellies of rebels. And the best thing about this season is you're seeing characters from Ferrix finally leave the planet and become something much bigger than themselves. This is something Tony Gilroy promised. The little guy fighting the oppressive machine, the Imperial War Machine. And even though we know how it ends for most of these characters, it still looks like a season that is going to be full of surprises. While I've been very critical of the way Lucasfilm market things, it's amazing they've coordinated the release of the prequel novel, Mask of Fear, with this trailer. I really wasn't expecting that, and that book is really focusing on Mon Mothma, the early struggles against the Empire, and an in-depth look at the early fight. I think another aspect of this trailer that just feels more Star Warsy than the first is it has a 2000s charm, the oomph, the urgency. Everything comes to a head in this season. You know, say what you will about a lot of Star Wars projects under Disney, their trailers have overall been very impressive, and this one is so exciting. And I don't know if you noticed, but the way they contrast the rebel shots with those of the Empire comes across as very dangerous, very mechanical. Their machinery and their starships, it feels so organized. And then you see the rebels on the ground, fighting with all they've got. It feels more rustic, more primitive, sneaking around in the case of Cassian and Bix, a lot of personal tension. And also, where is Cinta and Vel? I've had a theory for a long time. I don't think I've shared it, but here it goes. They did appear in the D23 trailer, and it revealed something devastating. A bit of dialogue from the first season hints that I think something bad is going to happen between the two. This is a relationship that's been set up to have a heartbreaking story arc. While they both love each other and show affection, Vel's emotions for Cinta are noticeably more intense. Tony Gilroy described them as one of the least complicated relationships in the entire show. It's a relationship that blossomed during a tragic time. They have to prioritize the fight against the Empire. Vel is a hopeless romantic, while I think Cinta is the more ruthless one. But some fans have noted there's probably a situation where one has to sacrifice the other for the greater good. And I think either one of them dies or they go their separate ways. Do you think Cinta might join Saw Gerrera? And I can't explain to you, with the year we've had for Star Wars, it is so great to see characters we love and care about. And I wonder if the way they threw Anto Krieger under the bus is something Saw might do with Luthen. He thinks he's got it all worked out. The Axis cell is very mysterious. We don't know much about him or Clea. And while they're geniuses of staying undercover and being tactical, I wonder if there's a betrayal down the line. And I think they want to get Star Wars fans excited. And this is upbeat. It really draws you in, but it does feel overly modern at times. Nonetheless, super excited about this. Now, StarWars.com have released a bit of information. Tony Gilroy wrote the first 3 episodes, with Beau Willimon writing episodes 4 to 6, Dan Gilroy penning episodes 7 to 9, and Tom Bissell put pen to paper for episodes 10 to 12. The directors for the series are Errol Kleiman, episodes 1 to 6, Janice Metz, episodes 7 to 9, and Alonso Ruiz Palacios for the final 3. So we are going in arcs, just like we did for season 1. This was just my initial reaction. I'm sure we're going to talk about it in more videos to come, but let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy this one? And did you like my breakdown? If you did, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Check me out on socials. The link to my Patreon is down below if you want to support what I do, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.